Kia ora guys, and welcome to the post-mock episode of the Wholesome Half Hour, where we're going to be discussing what to do now that mocks are over and where we can kind of go from here. So, as always, Siren's here.
Yeah, how's it going?
We're going to be answering your questions and just talking about in general, I guess at this time of year, because it can be a real messy time of year.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Yeah.
My voice is not as bad as yours was a few weeks ago, but it's not as highest quality. My concern is that it's going to deteriorate like throughout the episode.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes.
Oh, I should have gotten like an Etch-a-Sketch for you. You can just like type everything out when you need it.
Oh man.
That would have been so good. Bring those back, I'd say.
Yeah, I'll be into that. There's like an Etch-a-Sketch. I'm pretty sure there's like an Etch-a-Sketch like iPad app.
Of course there is.
I'm pretty sure.
How would that work? Like,
you have
because
like
you have dials, don't you?
You have the touchscreen dial.
That's so interesting. I think that's something that is not used enough. But yeah.
Maybe we should get that app. We'll give a demo.
Yeah.
Demo next week.
Yeah, next week we'll demo the Etch-a-Sketch
iPad app.
iPad app.
You could use it for your, making your flashcards.
Yep.
Very efficient way to do it.
Who needs Quizlet when you've got, am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Or maybe we should get a legit one. Can we find, if anyone's got a legit one, you can send us a DM and
Yeah, can we
we'll
have your
how good it
Etch-a-Sketch,
is.
please? I do love those. They're very
Yeah,
fun.
very cute. Very, very, very true. No, yeah.
Anyway.
Great start to the episode.
So good. So obviously not everyone will have finished mocks just yet, but I think for the most part.
If you haven't, you can always come back and watch this again. 2 weeks, you can watch it now.
Yeah.
Come back when you finish mocks, watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're preparing
Summer,
for mocks, we
watch
did an
it again.
episode on that as well a few weeks ago. It's called Mock Exam Season, I think, is like the name of it.
Is that your one with Lily?
Yeah, that's with Lily. You couldn't make it on that day, unfortunately.
I could not. I was inundated. But so if you haven't actually set your mocks yet, I'm sorry, this episode isn't quite for you. But we'll be just discussing everything anyway. So, if you want to watch it later, feel free. And if you want to just take notes for later.
I've been looking at the monitor like this entire time, but I'll try stop doing that.
It's fine. They're pretty close to each other.
No one probably knows until no one probably noticed until I mentioned it, and now I've screwed it up.
We've only got one camera this week, so technically Siren shouldn't have to get up to change anything, but we'll see how it goes.
It's all right so far.
So far, it's acceptable.
It's acceptable.
You're never excited about it, eh?
It's just like, you can always make like a minor adjustment. See, if I'm behind the camera, I can make it very easily, but because I'm here, I have to get up to make it, and it like interrupts the flow of the show. And you gotta strive for perfection sometimes. I can really talk well today.
Yeah, it's going well. It's going well, team. Awesome. So I guess if we are talking about post mocks, what do you think is the go-to for most students at this point of the year?
I think definitely you've done the mocks, you can kind of relax a little bit. You don't want to relax. It's one of those weird things where you don't want to be stressed out for the next 2 months. Yeah. But you don't want to relax too much either, especially if you did put a lot of effort into revising before mocks. It's good to kind of maintain that level of knowledge rather than lose it again and have to learn it all again in another 2 months. Yeah. But at the same time, you don't want to be stressed out and study hard for the next 2 months. Yeah. And burn out before exams. That's no fun either. Yeah. So it's kind of trying to strike a bit of balance.
There is definitely a balance that needs to be found. I think the thing with mocks, I mean, obviously speaking from personal experience as well, but I guess it feels like that time of year where you kind of do just think, oh, that's the first hurdle, I can relax. And I think that is obviously, you think about it and I probably shouldn't 100% relax and stuff like that, but I think it's a very easy sort of mindset to fall into. You just think this is the point of the year where, we're gearing up, but not quite. And I've done sort of the first hard bit, but I have to go back to school for a while, so it also isn't. And I think as well at this time of year it's every now and then you'll have a teacher slap one last internal in this last section. Yeah. or finish teaching you externals that they didn't have the time to teach all before the mocks. So there's always, I think this always
lots
happens.
Of fun.
At least in
lots
like
of fun
one
for the whole family.
Yeah, for one student subject, they'll always have like part of the mock. Either they won't understand, or the teacher is nice enough to like veto that section from the mock because they haven't taught it yet.
Yeah.
My condolences if it's the former in your case. You always hope for the latter.
I mean, the other thing that comes is eventually you get the mock grades back. What do you think is like the best way to like approach them? Say, I guess there's kind of two main scenarios. Either you're not that happy with your result, or you are happy with your result. How would you approach each of those?
I think if you are happy with your results, that's amazing, and you should.
You should be happy about it.
Yeah, you should definitely be proud of it, and you should be happy with it, and do what you can to maintain the grades that you want, because, like you said, there is going to be like a degradation of memory over the time. So
you don't want to get too complacent.
While you don't want to be like reteaching yourself an entire standard every day, I think small regular revision. Followed by some more maybe some more harder study closer to the exam is fine.
But just in between, kind of like. Just that little bit
like
of
a
revision
maintenance.
To just jog your memory just like a little bit on everything. Yeah.
I do also think though, because I think the majority of people get their mocks back and they're not happy with them. I think that is the more common scenario. And I think the biggest pitfall that a lot of people fall into is they think the mocks is reflective of what the end of year mark is going to be. And I think, that is just not indicative of it. It's a test of where you currently are and where you need to maybe work on. And I think mocks should very much be taken as an opportunity to see what you need to work on, so you can do maybe a bit more focused or targeted study. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think at this point, it's easy to fall into this trap of, because teachers and stuff will say, these are the marks that you're going to have if for whatever reason you aren't able to sit your exams. But, there have been instances where that has happened. But for the most part, I think, you are more likely than not to sit your exam. Yeah. So you should just think of your mocks as a stepping stone or as a marker of where you are. And so if you're not pleased with your grade, that's perfectly understandable and that's fine. But, is that better?
Yeah.
But also, don't get too caught up in it, because it's not the be all and end all.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Sorry, I want to check something real quick. Okay, all right, don't worry. Nothing to see here. I know, I definitely agree. I think it's good to, if you are disappointed with your grades, definitely, and you have 2 months, right? 2 months is a long time. You can achieve a lot in 2 months. Yeah. You don't, even if you got a not achieved in your marks, you could, even if you didn't go really hard with a little bit of revision, every day kind of leading up to the exams, you could easily improve that to a merit or an excellence just by slowly chipping it away at it each month. I'd encourage you, if you didn't get the grade you're after and you want to improve it, start doing little blocks of work now. Don't try to you're just gonna, it's we all do it, it's way more tempting, but it's a lot more stressful trying to learn an entire subject in the 2 weeks before the exam than it is at a slower rate in the 2 months before the exam.
Exactly.
2 months is how long you learn a topic in school, right? You've got so much time to do that.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you are going to have more standards that you need to be preparing for and all that kind of stuff, but you can definitely 2 months isn't, you can do a lot in that time. And I think that is sometimes the problems with the perception of mock grades, is that this is what it's going to be later in the year, and that's just so not the case. Yeah. I think also with mocks, sometimes, but not always, but there's also this sort of a tension between what is in your mocks versus what is actually going to be in your exams. And I think there are so many instances that, as a rule of thumb, I would not recommend taking the format of a mock and saying that that's what the exam is going to look like, because mocks you can Some schools do source them from other like companies and stuff like that write them, but quite often they're actually also just written within the school.
Yeah.
And so because of that, there is a lot more variation in things such as, you know, if a teacher hasn't 100% gone over a section yet, they can just
It's a very nice drink.
Just necking that.
I substituted my usual black coffee for a decaf caramel latte. Interesting. Don't usually drink white coffee. Don't usually drink sweetened coffee, so you know. Don't usually drink uncaffeinated coffee, so you know, this was an enlightening,
so where we are.
on-topic experience.
What was I saying?
I don't know, sorry. I
No, you're fine. But yeah, no, I do just think it is like a case of you can do a lot in that time, but maybe don't think of mocks as what the end of year is going to be. I think if you want a better idea of what your exam is going to look like, you're better off looking at previous year's exams, just because mocks can vary so much. I think if you want a more like informed way, I guess, of how an NCA exam is formatted, or how many questions there's going to be, or the style of the questions, or the language used, you're definitely better off just going through the website. I mean, I know some schools as well do use previous year's exams papers as mocks, but like you're not going to know that until you go in
and have a look.
Yeah,
definitely. So you get your like mock script back, like you get the paper back. What would you look for? What would you look at when you get the script?
I very much think, like, see what you did well and see what you need to work on. Obviously, an exam isn't going to encompass the entirety of a standard, so just because you
did really well at 2 parts and didn't do well on the 3rd question in a mock doesn't mean that you're going to get like the same 2 topic questions in the final exam.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So you know, there's always going to be that testing variability in whatever the examiner has chosen to put into the paper.
Yep.
And, you know, while it's going to take the majority of the standard, it's not going to be the entirety of it. And so I think, you know, mocks are a good indication of showing where you potentially need to work on, but it's not going to be an exhaustive list.
Yeah.
Because there is that, you know, testing variability. I think something that is very important as well is, and I think it's something that everyone kind of falls into a little bit, at least when they're younger. I mean, I definitely don't like doing it as much now, or it's a bit, I have a different sort of attitude to it now, is knowing what other people's grades are. I think it's a weird balance. I
really don't think it matters that much.
No.
And obviously there's that kind of like desire to know.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't affect you. Like it literally means nothing, right? Like it helps you in no way, shape or form. Yeah.
I think what is interesting about NCEA is that they do grade everything in a normal distribution. And for anyone that doesn't know what that exactly means, is that in the exams, if the
mocks aren't necessarily graded that way.
No, they aren't. But just as an FYI for end of year exams, if that year's cohort that's gone through cohort, what an awful word to use. I'm sorry, team.
Isn't that?
Oh, like it is,
right
but
word? Yeah.
I had the word horde in my head.
Yeah, cohort is definitely a more appropriate word.
Yeah.
Moving on. If that year's cohort comes through and they do really, really well on the exam, and you get like a very high percentage getting excellence, what will happen is that
the old PEP,
the old normal distribution bell curve, which is essentially like, it goes sort of like, which means the majority is in the middle, so the majority is getting like your average marks, so that would be like high achieves, merits kind of area, and then you've got a smaller percentage on one end that is going to be your excellence section, and you're going to have a smaller section on the other end, which is the not achieved section. And so if you have a year that goes through that does really, really well, and there's like an over-representation of like excellences, for example, compared to what the ideal score like should have been, what will happen is that the excellence boundary will be made harder. And what is done there is they'll either make the numbers that you have to get higher. So if it's like out of 24, they might make it like from a 19 to a 20. Or what they can also do is like go back through exams and mark people down for things that they didn't mark them down for before that. And I know I'm spinning this in a very negative light because...
It doesn't actually matter that much to you, and like what you like, there's nothing you can do about it, right?
Yeah, I'm just explaining it so you can be as annoyed about it as I am. No, I mean, on the flip side to that, if your year doesn't do well at all in a paper, people will be bumped up as well. So there is a vice versa to it. I'm spinning it in kind of a negative light, but I think...
Sorry, can you move your like necklace thing?
I'm very sorry.
That's all right.
The mic is just upsetting you today.
Yeah. Well, because here's another like behind the scenes thing that no one cares about. Usually when I'm behind the camera, I can listen to the sound and see if it sounds good. But because I'm here, I can't listen to the sound, so I don't know if it's good or not. So I'm just like trying to make a judgment just by like looking at the mic.
Trying to be as safe as possible.
And then at the end, like, it will be my audio that's like bad. I'll be like, oh, good job, Sarah.
Very fun. So that's how that kind of works. And like, it's my personal opinion is that if people get excellences and everyone happens to do well, like, yay, that means the topic was taught well, you know. I don't think it's necessarily because the testing is too easy, which I think is probably a fallback that could be used.
I feel like there is likely to be a greater variance in the, like, year on year. I feel like there is like going to be a greater variance in the difficulty of the test than the quality of the teaching. I don't think like year you're going to get like a 20% increase in like how smart people are. It's just like when you have such a large sample, that's just not what happens.
Yeah, that is very true.
Unless it's like a new topic or something like that.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's a fair evaluation, I think. But yeah, that's how it's graded. But I think, especially for mocks and stuff, I think what other people get has no bearing on you, and I think it is...
That is a real interesting, like, diversion, eh?
I know. I brought it back, though.
Really integrates well. We've got to bring it back.
Bringing it back.
Bring it back.
I think what is important in it, though, is it doesn't matter what else somebody got, because at the end of the day, what they got has absolutely no bearing on you, regardless of whether it's the same, better, or worse.
Yeah.
Because I think... everyone works at their own pace. Everyone has different ways that they prefer to learn. Everyone has different study habits. Everyone has different, like, there's always going to be that person that's like, oh, I just winged it, like I didn't even know, and then they get like an excellence. And they are also the kind of people that do really study in their own time as well. Like, I very much don't subscribe to the idea of lying about how much you've studied, because who cares? And second of all, downplaying study. I think because I think that is the end goal of making a statement like that. Yeah, like oh my god, I didn't even study. Like, neat, dude. Like, well done. Like,
yeah, like that's marvelous. That's really like helpful.
Yeah, like it's not. I don't know. I think we need to steer away from this idea that studying is uncool.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I'm not saying it has to be cool. I'm just saying it has to...
It just is what it is, right?
Like, it just is something that you do, you know? Like, just like, it would be like saying like, hey, I haven't showered in 3 days. Like, why would you brag about that? Like,
true or not, like, why would you do that? Yeah.
Sorry, I'm messing with the microphone again.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, sales guys.
Have fun, audio team. But yeah, no, it's just, it seems like a weird thing to me.
No, I agree.
To, either downplay. I mean,
or upplay.
Or upplay. Like, if you're going to brag about how much study you've done as well, you just kind of sound like annoying as well. But
I feel it.
I think what is really dangerous is the people who advertise the fact that they haven't done study, regardless of whether or not they have, and then like do maybe get like really good marks and stuff like that as well, because it sets this idea and
this unrealistic expectation that you can just do well. Like, which like is just like not true.
Yeah, it's not a thing. And I think like on top of that, it's not a healthy thing to get like to endorse in your mind or to subscribe to it. Like, it's like, oh, you know, so and so did this, and it's like, yeah, but that's not reflective of you at all. And we have to stop looking at other people's grades and seeing if we did better or not than somebody else, because I think at the end of the day as well, NCA isn't competitive.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the kind of environment in which I think should encourage a competitive academic atmosphere, just for the simple fact that I'm about as competitive as a teaspoon. Like, I really just don't, Yeah. But I think it's not super helpful because everyone has their own journey, their own way of going about doing things. So because of that, it's not comparable.
Yeah.
I think,
Awesome. Shall we do some questions?
I think we should do some questions.
Awesome. So this one's from Isabel.
Hi, Isabel.
Hey guys, how do you make a study schedule and stick to it?
Oh, I think this is an article we wrote last year, actually.
Yeah, I think there is an article on it. I'll link it in
if we
the
find
notes. But yeah, like, how do you A, create it, and B, like, stick to it? Like, it's a simple question, but it's easier said than done, right?
Yeah. So I actually think I wrote the article on it. So let's see how well I remember the research I did. But I think in making a study schedule, just like what we were talking about before, don't compare it to somebody else's, because everyone's got their own schedules, everyone's got their own pace, everyone's got different times of day that they enjoy working. So I think my first piece of advice would definitely be to see A, what time of the day that you think would be appropriate for you, and B, how frequently you are aiming to study. Maybe at this point where we're still like a fair amount out from exams, you might be only looking to do like a small amount every night. And so because of that, you might ramp it up closer to exam season, because you're still at school as well. And I think be realistic. I think that was like one of the biggest things that we wrote in the article, is just be realistic in what you're creating for yourself. Like, just because you have some spare time after school doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to actually be using that like 6 hours after school for study. Like, and also allow for things like travel time, snack time, and all that kind of stuff, because that adds up as well. Like, if you say to yourself, oh, well, I'll get home at 4 and then I'll study till 6. And for example, you get home, you decide to have a snack, you have like a kōrero with mum or whatever, and like it's like 4:30. Yeah. So, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend going for like time slots either. Like, maybe have goals for what you want to do every night.
I would definitely go for the kind of the goal approach. Yeah. Like daily goal approach. So like, so like on Wednesday I want to do like one level 2 biology question and one level 3 or one level 2 physics question, and that's like, those are my 2 goals for the night. And that way, you're a bit time flexible, but it's still very clear what you need to do that day. And be realistic. Like, don't try to like especially if you're stepping your game up from no study. Like, don't try to go from no study to 2 hours of study. Try to go from no study to 25 minutes of study. If you're at 25 minutes of study, don't try to go from 25 minutes to 2 hours of study. Try to go from 25 minutes to 45 minutes of study. Like, just be realistic with yourself, and that way you're much more likely to achieve it. Because I think, sorry to cut you off, but I think in setting like these grandiose ideas about how much study you're going to do, done. You only lead yourself to disappointment when it's not going to be achieved. Like, you're going to beat yourself up for setting an unrealistic goal. So like, avoid that situation entirely. And if you're interested in this, like, just Google like the planning fallacy. People are like naturally like psychologically inclined to just like forget about the stuff you talked about, like, getting home from school, chatting to mum, like having a snack. Like, people are just like very optimistic when they plan stuff. I'm very guilty of it. I'm very, very guilty of it. It's like not helpful, right? Because if you don't account for all that stuff, and then you realise you can't do all this stuff in one night, it's also quite discouraging as well. Exactly. It doesn't like, encourage a good mindset. If you like make the plan and you're finding, I'm doing like half an hour a night, like I'm finding it real easy, then you can slip it up and you'll be like, I can do one more question each night, and you can scale it up rather than having to scale down. That way, you're kind of like widening your scope, like as you get into the groove, rather than like realizing that it's too much and having to like put the brakes on. So I guess to kind of summarize that up for Isabel, set realistic goals and see when exactly you can work, as opposed to when you like
have actually that time. I think also, like maybe more goal oriented rather than time oriented is a much better way to go about it. And also, we talk about this quite a lot as well, but try things out like Pomodoro or time blocking or something like that as well, because that can also really, really help. But I think, one of the biggest things for study schedules and actually sticking to them is having goals as opposed to time, because you know what you have to do. Whereas if you just say...
You really want to make it clear what you have to do.
Because if you just say, I'm going to study for 2 hours, like that's all well and good, but it's not actually telling you what you're going to achieve. And, those 2 hours might be up. And because that time's up, you're like, I've done my study. But... if you were to maybe like look back on it, you would be like, I really only did 15 minutes of work and I scrolled for the rest of the time. So I think, just making yourself accountable for it as well. And, if you aren't able to make something, see if you can make it up later, And just keep going. Like if you do muck up a little bit, don't let that. Don't throw the toys out of the cot because of that.
Kind of like allow for the fact that sometimes you do get behind, but if you get behind, like don't beat yourself up. Just get back into it and keep going.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. How are we doing for time?
How are we doing for time? We are at.
Oh, marvellous.
I started that a bit early as well, though, so we've probably got a couple minutes more of
that. What subject? This is from Ruby.
Hi, Ruby.
What subjects are best to take if you have no idea what career path you will follow? And then she says, like, general subjects that open as many doors as possible.
Yeah, so I think, first off, I think we discussed this quite a bit last week.
Check out last week's episode. So I guess we'll, like, kind of do, like, a summary.
First
thing I'd say is, like, don't worry about the fact that you don't know what career option you want to go down yet.
Fine.
I wouldn't worry about it heaps at all. General, I'd honestly just do whatever you're interested in. If you're not sure, keep maybe don't double down on a particular area. Maybe spread it out a little bit, do a variety.
Yeah.
Couple of humanities, couple of sciences, whatever.
Yeah, 100%. I think take what you're interested in. You might have a general idea of the kind of area you maybe want to work in. So unless you're an all-rounder, kind of a person. But there might be a couple fields that you're maybe interested in. So maybe just take stuff from both of those and see what you prefer.
If there's something that tickles your fancy that you haven't explored yet, just take it. See how it is.
100%. I think explore everything that you can, and hopefully that will help you in deciding what you want to do later on. But I also wouldn't put too much weight in it, because there is nothing that you can do at high school that would 100% close any doors for you in the future.
Cool.
Yeah,
no, I totally agree. Shall we, this just popped into my head, so I decided we'll do it. Shall we bring back an old segment that we haven't done in a month?
Oh, God.
The old, thought of the week.
Oh, right. That? Do you have a thought?
I do have a thought.
What is your thought?
I've been thinking about, routine and consistency. Not necessarily, when you say routine and consistency, people think, time, the way, what time you wake up and stuff and all that. And that matters as well. Consistency, but I feel it matters with a lot of other things, what you eat, what you do, the more consistent you are, my voice is really starting to degrade.
It's fine.
The more consistent you are, you can really start to gain some efficiencies and better understand how your mind and your body works. This is kind of abstract, but if I was to put it into context, I know Mackenzie and I were talking about how energetic we are throughout the day, and
mine is not very.
One of the things that I know is depending on when I eat and what I eat, because I'm so consistent with that, I know what makes me energetic and what makes me not energetic.
Yes,
and it's almost just it's more maybe consistency is not the right word, but it's consistency is kind of a way of developing that kind of self-awareness, which is kind of really interesting, and you can kind of this is a very kind of deep abstract thought, but oh well.
No, it's fine. I'm rolling with it.
You can kind of get an understanding of how you work. So I don't, the reason I bring it up is because one of the things I know, and I've realized today after drinking this caramel
We've had
latte,
a lot of revelations today, Tim.
Is that I already knew this after in my first trimester at uni for at like lunchtime or whatever, I'd just have like a chocolate bar or something, and then like the next lecture, my energy level would just tank, and I just know like, and now I know that for me, when I have sugar during the day, my like energy levels like really dip.
Yeah.
So like, but like if I didn't like realize that, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And then like you can't kind of apply that knowledge.
Like you can't attribute it to anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just kind of like being aware and like realizing like, you know, if you are like feeling tired, because I know that's an issue that a lot of people have during the day, like feeling tired, being hard to focus, like there's probably some reason.
Yeah,
that
100%.
now that there could be like a variety of different sources for that reason. It could be diet related, it could be sleep related, it could be mental health related.
Yeah.
But like, it's probably related to something, and like if it's like affecting you, it's probably worth like trying to work out what it is.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's knowing your body, knowing your mind, I guess. Yeah.
It can really. It's like I feel like if you want to take like, I don't know, you're like the efficiency at which you study, or like how much you focus at school, like from 80 to 90, 90 to 100, like those are the kind of, those like little things start to really matter.
Yeah, 100%.
And you'd be surprised like how much of a difference, even just taking yourself from like 60 to 70% like focused in class, like how much of a difference that can make.
Yeah, that's definitely worth noting. Is I think quite often we think like, oh, not 100% sure why I'm feeling this way, and it might be like a combination of small things that we think, oh, this won't affect me. But like added together, like it does.
Yes, like once you combine, especially things like sleep, caffeine, sleep, diet, mental health.
Yeah.
Together. When I say diet, just for the record, when I say diet, I don't mean like not eating much. I mean like what you eat.
Yeah.
Or what you drink.
Or a bit of both, really.
Or a bit of both.
Just cough break. Sorry,
healthy,
team.
Real healthy today.
Yeah. No, I think that's very worth noting.
You can't get sick over the podcast.
I can though. Please stay away from me.
We'll cough the germs into the camera, and maybe you will get sick too.
Oh boy.
That was very wholesome. Very
so wholesome. Do we have any other questions this week though?
I double checked, but I think we're good to go. My phone has really blown up while we were talking.
Yeah,
This happens every week, eh? I swear, no one talks to me all day, and then when I'm recording the show, I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 notifications. Oh well, we can deal with those surely. No, I think we're good to go. Thanks so much for watching, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm sorry for that last phone bit. I was just getting called out by Will, so it's fine.
Classic.
Yeah, it's on the chat.
If you have a question for us, or if you have like something you want us to talk about on the show, please send us a DM, Instagram, Facebook, just send us that message.
Yeah.
We love to hear from you. We love to like actually talk about what you want us to talk about, rather than talk about what we think you want us to talk about, which may or may not be accurate.
Yeah.
Hopefully my voice will be better next week. Yeah.
Wait, a quick cheeky shameless plug.
Oh, MCAT? No?
Yeah. So I don't have any on me at the moment, but our MCAT walkthrough guides are out at the moment, and I know that's like obviously a real big thing for anyone who is sitting them at the moment. So we have them in the hard copy on our website, and
StudyTime.co.nz/store.
That. And we also have them online for free for you guys to check out as well. And they're really clear and really, engaging and cool. So for anyone who is stressing for that, definitely recommend checking them out. And even if you aren't stressed about it and you feel like you're onto it, no, it can only confirm what you know. But yeah, definitely check them out, guys, because they are super helpful and a lot of effort's been put into them for you guys, and we want them to be really good, and we enjoy hearing your feedback on all of them as well.
Yep. Also, with our friends at Inspiration Education, we have the MCAT workshops. So if you want like a bit of more of like a hands-on experience, like have someone talk to you about the MCAT, walk you through the exam, and like it's like a workshop. Like you get like a booklet, you get to do questions, you get help and everything. So if you're feeling a bit uncertain about the MCAT, you can definitely try out the guides. And also, like if you're keen for a workshop, you should go to inspirationeducation.co.nz, look at one of our workshops. We have them running in Auckland, Christchurch, Dunedin, Hamilton, Palmerston North, and Wellington. I know they're filling up fast.
Yeah.
So I hate to like bring in the classic sales pitch tactic. Be like, Spaces are limited and filling up fast, but they are filling up fast. And if that's something that interests you, you should totally check it out.
Yeah.
Inspirationeducation.co.nz. Man, the voice is really...
We're going to have a video coming out soon featuring myself and
Oh yeah,
Kitty.
we have an MCAT video.
We have an MCAT video coming out, so that's also
The
something.
first of many of a new little secret series.
For you guys. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in, guys.
Really appreciate it.
We always
Great
appreciate
to have
it.
you along for the ride. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting up with my coughing tonight.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Makes me feel less sick than I am.
I love it. So thanks, guys, and we'll see you all next week.